Everyone, and I mean everyone, has been talking about the Fantastic Four and their eventual MCU debut. Over the past couple of weeks, everybody's been talking about this film and this franchise and these characters, specifically because of that cameo of John Krasinski as Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as a part of the Illuminati, because that just got everybody talking about this film, specifically about, hey, John Krasinski should be our MCU's Reed Richards, but also just, this franchise in general. It got people to remember that, like, hey, the Fantastic Four are coming, and people talking about their fan cast, their theories, and all that stuff. Of course, John Watts, he quit the movie. He was going to be the director, so there's been rumors about who's going to be replacing him. There's been rumors of castings and all that stuff. There's just been a whole lot of discussion going on about the MCU's Fantastic Four, their eventual arrival over the past couple of weeks. And while we still don't have any official news, we do have a report from a scooper now, which actually isn't really about the Fantastic Four specifically. It just connects to them and has to do with their franchise. Because today we're actually talking about something that connects to a different cameo for the Illuminati and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was, of course, Anson Mount as Black Bolt. Because we have a new report from Scooper Whisper, who is saying that the Inhumans will make their MCU debut during the Fantastic Four franchise. So, interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, first of all, I don't want you to take this as confirmation, because it is just a scooper, it's just a rumor, so don't take it as confirmation at all, take it with a grain of salt, all that stuff, but also the fact that they say franchise, so don't at all expect, even if this is true, to see the Inhumans pop up in this first MCU Fantastic Four movie. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, but I feel it's more likely that they'll maybe debut in the second movie, or possibly even the third Fantastic Four movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, some of you out there may be a little confused now, like, why? Why would the Inhumans debut in the Fantastic Four? What is their connection other than the fact that Black Bolt and Mr. Fantastic were in the Illuminati before, together? Well, because originally in Marvel Comics, when the Inhumans were first introduced, they were introduced in a Fantastic Four comic series and actually started off as villains. So that is something I could see totally being adapted here into this storyline, is something I think that would be really cool, because that's, if we had the Fantastic Four in the MCU earlier, I feel like that's maybe what would have happened with Black Panther, because Black Panther is also a character that originally debuted in Fantastic Four comics as a villain, and then went on to get his own storyline, and that's what happened with the Inhumans. Now, the Inhumans in the MCU, this is something that we've all wanted to see for the longest time. It's just been hard and understandable why we haven't gotten them yet, because of the Inhuman series that we got on ABC, which was just an absolute disaster. I personally don't think it was that bad. Like, I watched it. I didn't like it, but I didn't completely hate it either. But that just turned everybody off of the Inhumans, including Kevin Feige. So that could have been the Inhumans in the MCU, but then with just how poorly received that series was, Kevin Feige's lack of involvement in that, it just did not go well, and especially considering it's really sad that originally was supposed to be an Inhumans movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but then they changed it last minute to, we're going to do a TV series, and, well, look how that turned out. So hopefully we can turn things around now, especially after seeing people's love for Anson Mount's Black Bolt in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, everybody loving that, especially that super comics accurate suit for the character. They can really turn things around and give us a great new adaptation of the Inhumans for the MCU. Because if you think about it, there's already kind of a little bit of setup for the Inhumans in the MCU already, considering that we have the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series actually debuting this upcoming Wednesday on Disney Plus, and in the comics, Ms. Marvel is an Inhuman. Now, we know they've changed their powers for this series and for the MCU, but they could always tie it in the end, and there has been rumors that possibly at the end of the series, Terrigen Mist will be introduced, and that could be some huge, huge setups for the Inhumans within this world. And that would be something so cool that even if they don't even actually introduce the Inhumans for years, at least we would have that setup and we would have that knowledge that, hey, the Inhumans are out there and they are coming one day. And also when it comes to the Inhumans, we don't have the same problem of bringing in the Fantastic Four and the X-Men all these years later and wondering, like, if they were here the whole time, then why did they not help in the fight against Thanos? Why were they not here ever? Why did we never hear of them or anything? Well, because with the Inhumans, they live on the moon, so that's kind of their excuse right there. And they don't have to be like the Eternals, where they're like just sitting there just watching. Like, the Inhumans are just living their lives up on the moon there and in Atlan and doing all that stuff, just living out their lives and being cool Inhuman people. But then bring in the Terrigen Mist, have the Inhumans come to Earth, have that conflict. You could do some similar themes to what they usually do with X-Men, with like the conflict of literally what their name is, Inhumans, and the whole discussion of humanity of like, oh, are they real people, and should we treat them fairly, and all that stuff. And that could be some great themes and some great storytelling for the MCU that I'd honestly really enjoy seeing play out. But again, circling this back to the Inhumans coming to the MCU in Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, or whatever movie it's going to be a part of, it makes sense. It makes sense not only because they debuted there, because they also have so many connections to them, because Fantastic Four is one of the first teams from Marvel Comics, so they already have that kind of a high-ranking power, and everybody's excited for the Fantastic Four. So if you introduce the Inhumans, which most people know the Inhumans, but more people know the Fantastic Four than they do the Inhumans, so they could introduce them there to get people, and specifically the general audience, more excited for a spin-off about the Inhumans, whether that's an Inhumans movie for the MCU or their own Disney Plus series. Seeing them pop up in the Fantastic Four first could really, really get some traction for that project. And the only thing I'm wondering about, if they do actually do this, is would we get a whole Fantastic Four movie about the Inhumans? Would it be like in the comics where we have a whole storyline where the Inhumans are slowly introduced, they're just spotted around the city, the Fantastic Four are like, oh, who are these mysterious people with powers? They follow them to Atlan, do all that stuff, Johnny Storm falls in love with Crystal. Are they going to do that whole storyline with Maximus and everything? Because, first of all, that would kind of take away from a Fantastic Four movie and, not giving us the opportunity to do some other cool Fantastic Four villain instead of just doing an Inhumans movie within a Fantastic Four movie. And then also, if you do an Inhumans spin-off project, then what are you going to do there if you do their whole storyline in the Fantastic Four movie? So I don't really know exactly how that would work. Maybe they just have a small, minimal role in a Fantastic Four movie, just helping the four, fight the bad guy at the end of the movie. It could be something really small like that, or something along the lines of like, Spider-Man's introduction in Civil War, or even Black Panther in that movie as well. So I'm not really sure exactly how it would work or how it would go down, but I really, really do hope that it happens. And again, what I mentioned just a few seconds ago about that romance between Crystal and Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, that's another romance I could see them playing out in the MCU, considering that, Crystal's main romantic relationship in the comics is with Quicksilver. They actually end up getting married, and, well, he's kind of dead in the MCU, so I doubt that's going to happen. But they could have her be together with Johnny Storm. I feel like that'd be a nice relationship to see play out. And casting is another thing we got to talk about. So what would they do for this? Because, of course, when it comes to the Fantastic Four, we just saw a variant of Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski, for the Illuminati in Doctor Strange. So everybody is still fan casting him as that character and saying, oh, we should see John Krasinski as the main MCU Fantastic Four Reed Richards as well. So if that ends up being the case, would we also see Anson Mount return as the main MCU Black Bolt? Or would they recast? We know Vin Diesel, he of course voices Groot, but he has for years been campaigning to play Black Bolt in the MCU. And I remember seeing a rumor a couple years back about Vin Diesel playing Black Bolt in the MCU and having I believe it was Aaron Taylor Johnson, speaking of Quicksilver, to play Maximus. And I doubt that rumor is true at this point, since he's gone on to play Kraven the Hunter now and do all that stuff. And I believe that was a rumor for the Ms. Marvel series, which doesn't look like we're really getting into Inhumans there. But there is a lot of possibilities here, and I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Anson Mount return. I'd also love to see Vin Diesel, or they could go in a completely different direction. I really don't know, but I know I love the Inhumans, I love the Fantastic Four, so to see them together, teaming up together, and see the Fantastic Four used as a launching point for the Inhumans in the MCU, I feel would be really cool, and honestly a smart business decision in the long run. But Guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What do you think about this rumor and this possibility that we could see not only the Inhumans coming to the MCU, but introduced through the Fantastic Four franchise? So guys, let me know all your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on